Conclusion, you'll be glad to know. What have we learnt from these and other projects? Well, we've learnt that learner engagement with the ELP, which I hope I've been able to give you a small taste of, raises their language awareness. It raises their learning awareness. It supports the development of their capacity to manage learning through self-monitoring and self-assessment. It leads to a growth in their confidence. And it helps to develop learner autonomy in a transparent and consistent way. Learning outcomes from use of the ELP: significant development of learners' ability to identify individual learning needs and course demands. In other words, learning how to learn. Language learning becomes more focused and more relevant for each individual. There's clearly plenty of evidence of that in the primary ESL examples I've shown you, but also I think in the learning of French by Tracy and Louise and their peers. With the growth of awareness and knowledge, learners are increasingly empowered. What they're doing matters to them because they have a sense that they matter. With the growth in their ability to self-monitor and self-assess, learners become more confident. And finally, last but by no means least, they develop learning skills that they can transfer to other learning domains. Adult refugees who learn English with us using a version of the ELP take their ELP with them when they go for placement interviews, for vocational training, or for job interviews. And placement officers and potential employers are always impressed because they not only have this evidence of their learning in English, but they are able to talk about learning, to talk about how you go about it. And that's something, of course, that's also relevant to every workplace. Two views from other countries. At the end of the pilot projects, I collected for the Council of Europe some simple accounts of implementation, and from those I've just chosen two quotations. Evangelia Kaga, who coordinated the Greek pilot project, wrote, "Most learners state that the ELP encourages them to think about their own learning process and to develop strategies for acquiring communication skills. They think that it helps them to identify their strengths and weaknesses, to improve their performance and rectify their errors. They can determine their learning needs and understand the hows and whys." A good testimony, in other words, to the capacity of the ELP to develop learner autonomy. And Teo Pekila from Finland, "The ELP was always integrated with the daily work of our language classrooms. That was the point with which I began. Integration. If you're not going to integrate it, forget it. According to our approach, the dossier had a central role in the process. We also made regular use of the self-assessment grid and the CEF to set further aims for learning. Students made individual action plans on the basis of their self-assessments and reflections, carried out at the end of each course." As I said, on the handout you've got 4 web addresses. You've got the Council of Europe portfolio address. If you're not already familiar with it, you can get all the key documents from there, including those I've referred to in this talk and that are referenced at the end of the handout, and you can download them, of course, and print them out. The Council of Europe also keeps a regularly updated list of validated portfolios, and in some cases there are links from those portfolios to national ELP websites. The second address is the ECML, and you can go there for information about the ECML and its projects. The third one is Integrate Ireland Language and Training. If you're interested in this curriculum, you can download it as a PDF and print it out. You can also download and print out the ELPs and other things to do with our work with migrants of one kind or another. And then finally, the website of my centre in Trinity College. If you go to projects and then Irish ELP and so on and so forth, you'll find your way unmistakably to this enormous website, which in some weeks is more frequently visited than the Council of Europe's. I apologise for going over my allotted time span. Thank you for your patience.